to Menopause Morph, your time to change. We're here to help you thrive through your menopause, bringing you experts in many fields to help you from perimenopause to menopause and beyond to become the strong, vibrant woman nature intended you to be. Hosted by Pauline McCarthy of the Pearls of Pauline, pearls of wisdom, compassion, and joy.
Hello, welcome to this week's Menopause Morph. Today we have a lovely lady from New Jersey. Her name is Maria Claps. Maria is a certified health coach with training in functional medicine for women's hormone health concerns. She is a graduate of the Institute for Integrative Nutrition and the rigorous Functional Diagnostic Nutrition Program. She also studied with Dr. Sarah Gottfried in order to learn how to help women balance their hormones. Maria has put together a guide for women in their changing years called Create the Perimenopause You Want to Have. And at the end of the program, she'll tell you all about that. So welcome, Maria.
Thank you so much, Pauline. Happy to be here.
Great. So most of the time we're talking on Menopause Morph, we talk in general terms menopause, but in that menopause, we want to include perimenopause because it's not something that happens overnight, is it? No, it takes
Absolutely.
many years.
Yeah.
So I'm very glad that you're here. You are actually our first guest to talk about perimenopause. So
oh wow, okay.
That's an honor. That's an honor.
Thank you.
From such a young lady, it's so nice to have the younger ones on. So, can you tell us how did you know you were going into perimenopause?
Oh sure, okay. Well, it took me probably a couple of weeks, or at least I'll say a couple of months, to really kind of examine what was going on. But my harbinger symptom, the thing that appeared out of nowhere, was insomnia, and it was pretty horrible. And I guess after speaking to my own mom, she's like, I think you're in perimenopause. I'm like, okay. I kind of intuitively knew what that meant just by breaking the word down, right? I think, most people who've gone through a high school geometry knows peri means around. So I was like, okay, I'm getting to be around menopause. And then I just, I just really started to explore from there. I ended up going to the doctor because the insomnia got so bad that I was really unable to function. And the doctor got me out of a hole, but it wasn't quite the best experience.
And how old were you then?
I was 40.
Yeah.
I was 40.
I started my symptoms at 40 as well.
Yeah.
It was quite the shock. Because it's not talked about. So you think menopause is something that happens to old women. It's like, well, 40, I'm not old.
Amazing, right?
Yeah. And so how did you help yourself during that time? Did you do it yourself, or did the doctor help you, or was it a combination of both?
Okay, so I went to this doctor on Park Avenue in New York City, and he ran me through a battery of tests. We looked at my hormones, and we looked at other things as well. He looked at my thyroid. He prescribed. It's really interesting because he billed himself as a holistic doctor. But I remember the first red flag was, and I went in like the day after Christmas. It was like December 26th. So it was winter. And one of the first things I think he or his staff said to me is, do you want a flu shot? And I was like, no, I'm not here for that. And, so he gave me some supplements, did a lot of tests, also gave me, he offered me a bone health drug. I think it was Boniva. And I was like, no, I'm not here for that either. So he got me sleeping again, but he did not teach me the really key principles of hormone balance. He didn't teach me that my adrenals were worn out. And I had 4 kids in 6 years from between 23 and I guess 29, or 24 and 30 it is. And so my adrenals were kind of shot, and he didn't teach me about that. He didn't teach me about gut health, and he didn't teach me about liver health. And, so he just kind of gave me like what we call palliative care, which is just some stuff to get me sleeping again.
Just a Band-Aid, really.
Really just a Band-Aid from a doctor that I expected better from.
Yeah.
So it was after that I actually went back to school myself, went to the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, and then I did the Functional Diagnostic Nutrition Program, studied with Dr. Sarah Gottfried. She is the author
she's amazing,
of the
isn't she?
Yeah, she's great. Yeah. Yep. She's been probably, I guess, this generation's awareness spreader.
Yeah. I've been trying to get her on Menopause Morph, but she's always so busy, but I'm going to keep trying.
Keep trying. Yeah. Right.
And so, what changes did you then make? Because you talked then about your gut health and adrenals, and so what did you learn that you could put into practice yourself?
Sure. So, it took me a couple of years to learn this, but I learned that doing and I think especially as women go into their 40s, sometimes some food sensitivities show up. So doing not a food sensitivity test because those are kind of notoriously inaccurate, but doing like a really simple elimination diet where we eat really simple and elemental and then we add back in foods that we're not sure about just to make sure. So anytime you have a food sensitivity, your adrenals react to that. And our adrenals are the glands of stress. And anytime cortisol is kind of overproduced in the body, it's going to steal raw materials that, like pregnenolones are a master hormone. It's going to steal raw materials that would otherwise go to fund like estrogen and progesterone and aid in their creation. So if cortisol is at great need in the body, then, you can possibly become a little bit more deficient in your sex hormones, your estrogen, your progesterone for sure. Mm-hmm. So one way that people spike their cortisol is by eating foods that they're sensitive to. So doing a simple elimination diet taught me, that dairy is not my friend, and to stay away from it. And by doing that, I'm able to kind of keep my adrenals in check and not have them surge in cortisol because I'm eating dairy. And, some other things too I found out food-wise. But I think that that's really important is
when you talk about dairy, is it because of the lactose or something else in the dairy products?
I'm not exactly sure what it is about the dairy. I just know that, so scientifically I don't know what it is, but I know from history with my children that it's definitely mucus forming. I've seen that over the past 20 years. And again, I'm not saying dairy is the devil. It's not evil. It just, for a lot of people, it doesn't work. Mm-hmm. And it's one of the most common food sensitivities. But I don't know from a molecular standpoint what it is, but I know that it is not good for me and sometimes not good for
so
my clients.
The medicines that the doctor were giving you, do you still take them, or did you stop and just use nutrition to heal yourself?
Yeah, that's a great point. So the doctor actually prescribed a very strong medicine, a benzodiazepine, Klonopin, which he told me that I could take when I wasn't sleeping well. Well, it just so happened that because I wasn't trained in even something as simple as sleep hygiene, that I relied on the Klonopin too much. I became, I don't think I was physiologically addicted to it, but I became at least psychologically addicted to it. I would say I was on it for about 6 years, and I probably just recently came off in the last 9 months. Had to relearn how to sleep and relearn how to manage stress. Yeah.
I had a similar problem. The doctor gave me a medicine called Imovane, and I did become addicted to it. If I didn't have it, I couldn't sleep. And a few times I tried to go cold turkey, and I didn't sleep for 2 whole days. And then I would be so exhausted that I would sleep. And it really was really, really difficult. And eventually what I did was I broke the tablet down. I took half, and then I took a quarter and stuff like that. And I've been maybe 3 years now, never took anything. And I, what you were talking about sleep hygiene, I have this ritual. I make a ritual and I calm myself down. I do some meditation, and I don't have the computer in my bed, I have it on a Saturday afternoon or something like that, or, but not before sleep. And there are so many things that we can do to make our body in the situation where sleep comes naturally. There's so many things we do nowadays that just keep us awake. The blue light from screens.
Yeah, that's definitely an Achilles heel for me. I do struggle with getting off the computer at night, but most of the times when I do get off, I sleep well. And if I'm just even too mentally stimulated, not even withstanding the blue light, and I know that that's a problem, but there's too much mental stimulation, it can be hard to calm down. So I think that's really super important. I know I'm really into eating well, but I think sleep for me is even more important than what I eat. So
I did a course last year with Adriana Huffington, of the Huffington Post. And she was part of the course where she was really stressing everybody needs to get at least 8 hours sleep. And she gave the example why she started this course was she was working herself. We work, crazy, it's all the balls in the air doing so many projects. And one day she collapsed at work. And when she collapsed, she hit her head on a desk and she was really seriously injured, Then after that, she collapsed because just through sheer exhaustion. And so she was stressing this, like to focus on the most important things in your life and to be productive. And it's like, when we are sleep deprived, we get more brain fog, we make more mistakes. Life is, we think we're saving time by staying awake longer, but actually it's making things more difficult. So we're wasting time. So it's really important to get good sleep. That's not like now I banish my husband from the bedroom, if he's on the computer, I say, no, it's bedtime. Go. If you want to be on the computer, if you want to destroy your life, you go down the stairs. It's like, wow.
Totally. Yeah, that's good. Awesome.
So what you've learned such a lot about perimenopause and how people can help. So is there some advice that you can give to our listeners that are going through this perimenopausal period?
Yeah, just realize that it's not a disease. It needs to be managed, but not by your doctor. That certain symptoms I like to say anxiety can be I hear a lot of women say that they get anxiety when they go into perimenopause. Yeah. And I believe that's because, their hormone, their progesterone is dropping. Progesterone is our soothing, calming hormone. So finding ways to build up progesterone, not necessarily doing hormone replacement therapy. I'm not against that. I haven't had the need to do that. And I think that, probably 90% of women could balance their hormones if they were to get off the computer, tend to their sleep, tend to their adrenal health, tend to their nutrition. They could probably balance their hormones without, drugs or surgery. But unfortunately, in this age, we seem to want, a decisive and quick fix, and we're just not willing to, to give our bodies what it needs, which is, so it takes work sometimes. Yeah. So I would say that's really important to know as you go into perimenopause. That yes, we require a little bit more management and maintenance, but it doesn't mean that you have to spend your afternoons sitting in doctor's offices just because you're in perimenopause. Mm-hmm.
And what are the biggest symptoms you've heard from people that are going through perimenopause?
I would say definitely anxiety. There's confusion. Some women report hot flashes in perimenopause. Some women have just weight that seems to have appeared out of nowhere. Sometimes worsening PMS symptoms, worsening symptoms around menstruation. Yeah. That seems to be
I went through years of prolonged periods, menstrual periods. I would be bleeding for 2 weeks on and 2 weeks off for years. And then I was on a list for a hysterectomy, and something happened. I think my husband got sick. It was about 3 or 4 years ago. My husband got sick, and then I realized that the doctor had said to me, when you have this hysterectomy, you need somebody to take care of you when you come out, because you'll be pretty out of it for at least a month. And then my husband got sick, and I thought that he's not going to be able to look after me because I'm looking after him, So I phoned the hospital and I said, look, I have to put this off, can we put it off? And they said, okay, we'll put you down the waiting list again. So I think it was about 6 months later, they contacted me and they said, okay, we've got a space. And I hadn't been bleeding for about a month, or I think it was maybe a year, but there was a couple of months where I just wasn't bleeding at all. And then I said to them, I don't think I need this. So
That's fantastic.
I was quite glad that I'd put it off.
Wow. That's lucky.
Yeah, it was great. And you were saying that a lot of women, they don't really want to put in, of course, most of us are a bit lazy in some things, but if you were to give them advice, what advice would you give them to have a healthy transition into menopause?
Yeah. That's great. I would say the first thing is the realization that it's just a normal phase of life. It's not a disease process, and there's nothing wrong with them. So that's just the first thing. The second thing to have a healthy, is your nutrition has to get better than it probably is. And I say that's a generalized recommendation.
Mhm.
But, I think that, and I'm not, and I don't ascribe to really precise dietary dogma, but I do think that most women in middle age just eat too many carbs. And again, I'm not an anti-carber, but I think that we've got to make them high quality and nutrient dense. And unfortunately, Pauline, as you may know, so we're talking about women like 40, 45, 50 and up. So they're at a period in their lives when maybe, let's just throw it out there. Their kids are older or their job is secure and they've arrived at a certain place in life. And unfortunately, a lot of the socializing that they do kind of revolves around rich food and wine. Again, I'm not saying don't ever do that, but if you do too much of that, you're going to probably throw off your hormones and create a little bit of, insulin resistance. So those things pretty much figure into hormone balance as well, not making sure that, you're not shooting up, you're not producing a lot of insulin as well. That can throw up your entire endocrine system.
And a lot of people think that weight gain is inevitable during menopause or perimenopause. And do you think that is so?
Okay. So weight gain, I think some weight gain is normal. I think that in excess of 10 pounds might be statistically common. I don't know if I want to use the word normal or abnormal. I think what I'm going to use is it's unhealthy and in excess of 10 pounds. And it's not something that just, we correlate it with menopause. I don't know that it's necessarily correlated with menopause. What I think is that you've had perhaps years, if not decades, of not eating right, not moving right. And I'm not saying we should all go out and pound the pavement and, be runners and like workout fanatics. But, I think that women just sort of like lose that love of natural movement and, don't eat as well as they could. And maybe what's been building up in the body for the past, few decades is this form of insulin resistance. And then, that causes weight gain. We actually want to really remain sensitive to insulin throughout the lifetime. And I think due to habits of the previous decades, it just kind of shows up in maybe the 40s or 50s.
Yeah. And there is so many sugar things in foods that are hidden in foods. Recently, I've been listening to JJ Virgin about the sugar impact diet, and she's been saying like if you read the ingredients, it's really quite shocking. Even bread has sugar in it. Sometimes it's like what So I think it's very convenient just to go into the store and just pick things off the shelf. But I think somebody was saying to me the other day, if your grandmother doesn't recognize it as food, it probably isn't really food.
Right. Yeah.
I think we have to unbrainwash ourselves from what the big stores have been putting all these adverts on. Oh, buy this quick dinner or this microwave dinner, and really go back to the basics. I think sometimes we think cutting up vegetables and things, it's going to take a long time, but actually often it doesn't take much longer than the instructions on a packet.
Yeah. And that's the one thing that I find that most of my clients don't get enough of is vegetables because, they do take a little bit of work, but the payback is incredible. The vitamins, the minerals, the fiber, you really can't get that from packaged food. So it's important.
I'm very lucky because my elder son, he's really getting into the health thing. And Mama, don't eat this. Mama, don't eat that. And it started a few years ago. And he said, Mum, MSG is monosodium glutamate. It's really bad. It's really healthy. And he printed out all these things. And then it was aspartame. Mama, you shouldn't be drinking aspartame. It's really bad.
That's great.
And, so
that's really good.
He's been educating me.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
And slowly. And then one day I woke up one morning and I have rheumatoid arthritis, osteoarthritis, fibromyalgia, and I was, I don't know what it is in pounds, but it was like 98 kilograms. I was really big, and I'm a small person. So I was, he used to say to me, Mama, don't walk beside me, walk on the other side of the road. I don't want people to know that my mother is a little ball.
Oh,
But he's autistic, so he doesn't have any barriers. He has no, what's the diplomacy.
Yeah.
He just says
Right.
it like it is. So I thought, I have to not be a ball anymore. I'll be Cinderella and go to the ball. And then I started baby steps. I just started walking more and going for swimming pool exercises, and really changed my diet. And I lost 18 kilograms. And I could throw, at the time I was walking with walking sticks and I could throw them away, which was really great.
that's fantastic. Oh my gosh. Thumbs up to you.
But
Wow.
now,
That's amazing.
but the last couple of years I've reached like a plateau, and now I really need to kick it in. And, as I said, I've been listening to JJ Virgin and Sarah Gottfried, and they're all saying the same: cut out sugar and don't do this. But it's such an addiction. Oh.
Yes, it is, but it's worth it to break it. That's for sure.
So this is, I'm saying to my son, I say to all my son, my husband, if you see me eating chocolate or sweeties, grab them away.
And probably a little bit of dark chocolate is okay
Yeah.
for the pleasure that it brings.
Mm-hmm. But this
And
is
the magnesium.
magnesium. I take magnesium at night. That really helps. It helps me sleep as well. And I had this restless leg syndrome, and it's been really helping that,
That's good.
But now, I'm saying this publicly on the podcast, that people you can write in and say, Pauline, have you been keeping to your no sugar?
Yes, when we declare something publicly, it becomes, it's a good way of staying accountable.
Yeah, I have another 18 kilograms that I need to lose. And I really believe, a lot of people say, oh, it's impossible to lose weight when you're menopausal, but I don't think that is true. I think it has to start up here and then completely change our lifestyle.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it becomes a bit more of a challenge, but as long as we don't give in to that mentality, because I think once we give in, we don't try, right? We don't take care of ourselves. So it's important to really kind of honor your body.
My problem is that I have a souvenir candy business. And there's candy everywhere.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. You've got to maybe get it in a different location.
I know. So, my husband and I, we have a plan to sort of semi-retire next year and sell the business. And I'm really looking forward to it, because it's like being an alcoholic and having a bottle of whiskey in the house. You know what I mean? You just wouldn't do that, So when you've got a sugar addiction, to work with candy all the time is like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. That could be a problem.
But I'm getting there. I'm getting there, slowly. And it's so wonderful to have you and other people coming on that are talking about good nutrition, because I think I was reading somewhere that, something that doesn't go into your psyche straight away. You have to come into contact with it 3 or 4 or 5, maybe 7 or 8, 9, 10, until it catches your attention. They say this in advertising. You can see something, it doesn't matter, But when you see it again and again, it's like your brain starts to go, here, wait a minute, I should be taking attention to this.
Absolutely. Yeah. Definitely. I'm expecting you to see a full plate of greens on your plate real soon.
Okay, and my fridge. I went yesterday to the supermarket and I stocked up with salad stuffs, and I wanted to ask you, since you're a nutritionist. Yeah, I have rheumatoid arthritis, and I read somewhere that nightshade plants are not good for that. But it
could be a problem. Yeah,
I'd really love paprika. So is that a
a
bad thing to take?
It is a nightshade. So, what you could do is you could, like I said, do that elimination diet that JJ Virgin recommends, right? Because have you read, her book?
Yeah.
She's got a previous one.
Yeah,
do that.
I haven't read the previous one.
And then definitely take out the nightshades as well. See if it makes a difference. I would do it for at least 30 days, though.
Okay. And potatoes, what are they nightshades as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Living in Iceland, the basic diet in Iceland is fish, lamb, and potatoes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's it. The people for centuries, that's what they were eating: fish, lamb, and potatoes, and almost no vegetables. So I
Really?
always try to sneak some vegetables into a stew for my husband to eat. Otherwise, he wouldn't eat them at all.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's so interesting.
So it's like, you know, some kids, they don't like to eat vegetables, and somebody gave me a recipe for a chocolate cake that had vegetables in it. You know, you grate the vegetables really fine, and you know, a bit like carrot cake, but it's got carrot. It had carrot and I can't remember,
Zucchini, maybe?
potato, I think it was, and some things in it, and she
Oh,
made a cake, you know, and it tasted fine, you know. And she said, "This is how you can sneak vegetables into your kids' diet." You know?
yep,
So
yep. No, I've done that. I've put bean puree in cookies, and actually white bean puree to sub for some of the butter in cookies, and it actually works quite well. In fact, my youngest son prefers those.
okay, I'll have to try that. And so, is there
Yep.
anything else? We're coming near the end of our time. Is there anything else that you would like, any advice you'd like to give to the ladies?
Well, I do have a guide for women that see that they are changing, and you know, the change starts, and taking control of your change starts with education. And it certainly doesn't end with education, because education is useless without application. But I just think that this is stuff that women are not getting from their doctors. They're getting, you know, a choice of either antidepressants or the birth control pill to try to, you know, rein in their hormones or rein in their emotions or their anxiety. And there's, you know, there are side effects with those things, and they're potentially dangerous. I'm not saying that they're never, you know, I'm not saying that no one should take them. I'm just saying that you should always use drugs as a last option,
Yeah.
you know, after you've exhausted everything. So the guide that I have is educational. It's like everything I wish I knew when I was going into perimenopause. And I talk about your hormones, how they change, what you can do, and foods that you can eat. And even my last page of the guide is how you can have a productive doctor's visit.
Wonderful.
So,
And they
yeah,
can get that at www.mariascopes.com.
correct.
I'll spell that
Yes.
out. MariaScopes.com.
Yes. Awesome.
Wonderful. And so they get that for free if they go to your website.
Absolutely.
And
Yes.
if anybody would like to get more help from you, they can. You're a health coach. So if somebody would like a health coach, they would contact you through that site, or is there another email address that they should contact you at?
They can actually contact me through, Facebook is always good, but my website is probably the best. And my website is nourishandflourishhealth.com.
Nourishandflourishhealth.com. Okay,
Yeah.
that's what we all want to flourish. So that's been really
Absolutely.
wonderful. You've really put me on the spot now. I'm going to go down the stairs and say, okay, like get these candies out of here, and because I always bring some home in case we have visitors, and I say, oh, these are candies from our company. Have some, but actually more of them going into my mouth than into the mouth of the guests.
Oh, yes. I used to like to bake until I realized I was my own best customer, and I've greatly cut that down as well.
Oh, yeah. There was one question I wanted to ask you. You know how, like, when the hormones are changing and the testosterone is taking over because we have less estrogen and progesterone, and the woman's shape, they say it loses the curves. Is that
Okay.
inevitable? I think a lot of women are scared they're going to turn into a man, or their body's going to become like a man.
I think that what happens is, well, first of all, I don't think it's testosterone actually decreases too.
Okay.
But here's the deal: is that's when we have too much insulin actually upregulates an enzyme called aromatase, and aromatase can actually, for a woman, it can flip her estrogen over to testosterone,
Okay.
and for a man, actually, it can flip his testosterone over to estrogen. So when we see a man with like man boobs, he's probably estrogen dominant. So that's a problem. And then I think what you're referring to probably has a little bit more to do with, again, that just developing that insulin resistance, not being active, not doing, doing weight, resistant exercises
weight
where you
training.
build bone and you build muscle. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So
Okay. So women can keep
Yeah.
their curves as long as they keep eating healthy and exercising, but it doesn't have to be excessive.
should not be excessive, as a matter of fact. No, you should be able to exercise and, be done in 30 minutes and have gotten a great workout in. No need to go longer than that. Yeah, it could be weight bearing.
Friends of mine, they had a dog, and the neighbours started to complain, and they weren't allowed to have the dog, so they asked me to take it. And I don't know I didn't know anything about dogs at all, but I took the dog, and it's been like God's sign to me, like, Pauline, here's your exercise. Take the dog out for a walk. And it really helps.
An animal will do that. Yes, an animal will do that for sure.
And she doesn't.
So picking up a few weights is good too.
Yeah. And she doesn't, like when I'm really busy, I'm saying, no, Priya, don't disturb me. I'm really busy, But she'll keep on and keep on. It's like, 'cause she knows it's time to go out, So
that's very good. Yeah. Oh, and Pauline, I wanted to mention one more thing.
Yes.
For any women that want to kind of join a community, I have a Facebook group, and it's called Hormone Health for Women. It's a group, so not a page.
Okay.
And it's I think we're almost 1,000 now, people. And it's just sort of like I say, I have kind of daily office hours, and I go in and I try to be helpful and answer questions.
Okay, so that's on Facebook, and it's called Hormone Help for Women.
Health. Hormone Health.
Health. Not help. But you will be helping.
Correct. Exactly.
Okay, yeah. I'm going to look at that tonight and sign up.
Awesome. I would love to have you in there.
Yeah, and then you'll be keeping tracks on me. Have you been eating sugar? Have you been doing this? The sugar police. Oh, well, thank you very much, Maria, for coming. It was really great to have you on today.
I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
And as usual, we have to tell people we are not giving out medical advice. If you want medical advice, please go to your family practitioner or whatever doctor it is that you go to. Okay, see you all the next time. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Menopause Morph, your time to change. If you've enjoyed the program, be sure to subscribe to the next one, and please leave a rating and review on iTunes to help us spread the message about thriving through the menopause. To get a free ebook, more menopausal resources, and to connect with Pauline, please visit www.menopausemorph.com.